Hello and welcome to our video about pigments. This is about BellaHoot Pigments, which essentially just means color. Some refer to it as mica. The bottom line is it's not a dip powder and it's not a polish or a strip, obviously. So I was going to do my nails, but I think I'm just going to swatch this one tonight because I'm not feeling good, so I apologize about my nose or my nasaliness. And I was going to use clear, but since I grabbed white, we're just going to go with it and see how it goes. So whether it's our glow in the dark, whether it's a glitter, whether it's a temperature change, or anything else that we might add or have in the future when you're watching this, when you glance at the pricing, that's how you'll be able to tell if it's small. So for example, our dip powders are 10 grams or 10 milliliters, and these are usually $7. If it's less than $7, keep in mind it might be getting a smaller jar, so you can get, two if you need to for the same price of the smaller ones. So it's just how I was able to get them at the time. So we're going to talk tonight about the color change ones, just because we've had some questions about that, or I want to show you how it works. And we'll come back to we'll circle back to the glow in the dark as well. But I've done a video on the glitters already. So basically there's a couple different ways you can apply these. One is you can take a clear polish of any sort. This just happens to be a base / top coat from Dollar Tree. You could take this and you can open this and you'd put this aside where you don't get it messy. And well, I just got it all over my table because that's how life works. And you could make a little funnel and you could pour your pigment right in here, some, and then shake it up and decide if you want to add more or not. And you could apply it just like a polish. I would definitely suggest, no matter what, you use what I'm just going to call the sandwich method, and you would sandwich your pigment, whatever you're using, between a base coat and a top coat. So for example, if you were going to use this method, you would, you could base coat your nails with the clear base coat. You would take your then mixed pigment polish that you've made, and you could use color too. For example, if you're using a purple glitter, you could use, a purple or blue nail polish or whatever to add it to. But just bottom line is you can add it to any polish that you'd like, and you'd have your little homemade nail polish with the pigment that you choose. You could also mix them if you wanted to mix them and make some cool stuff. You could put purple and blue glitter together, or pink, and whatever else you wanted to. So that's one method, is just putting it in a nail polish. But I would suggest, again, using your base coat and your top coat. You could use a sheer top strip if you wanted to. You could sandwich it underneath a strip, or I'll show you how to use your dips for it. So that's one method. Then if you have gel polish, you would do the same thing. You would gel polish base your nails. You would put it under the UV light. Then you would, utilize either this method, or you would apply another base coat or clear polish or whatever color polish you want in your gel. And then you would add your pigment to it, brush off your excess. I'll show you how to do all this. And then you would cure it and then top coat it and cure it again. So you could sandwich it between your gels. I don't have any of those to show you tonight because we don't have gels right now. Or you could do the powders too. So what I'm going to do first of all is put down a piece of paper to catch our extra pigment. Okay, so we're going to use the color change pigment, and we're going to just swatch it tonight, but I'll show you from start to end. And I'm going to use the white powder. So this is our dipping powder, and I was going to grab clear as I mentioned, but we'll just try the white and see how it goes for tonight. So first thing you need is your base coat. So you would take your base coat. Let me get everything. Be very, very careful with your base coat, guys. If you get the base coat on the outside of the bottle, okay, on the outside rim of this bottle right here, the reason the lids come off too is this stuff it's like a glue. It's like a nail art glue almost. It's going to glue on your pigment, glue on your dip powder, glue on, it's an adhesive basically. So when you're pulling your brush out of here, you don't want a lot. You want to do it slow and not get any on the outside. And if you do, you want to clean it up with like alcohol before you close it so you don't glue shut your base coat. All right, so you'd apply a thin layer of your base coat, but make sure you get it even and all over the place. And for some reason, I am terrible at doing the swatches with the base coat, so I'm just going to grab a little bit extra, even though I said a thin coat, just to make sure that I got all the sides. I don't know if it's because it's longer than my nails are or what, but I just do horrible at this. And if you see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like glitter and stuff on it now because I have transferred stuff into my base coat because I'm terrible, but I have glitter in my base coat. So you would go into your powder, but a 45-degree angle, bring your powder up to your nail. You don't slam your nail, like you don't put your nail down into your powder. You bring the powder up to your nail, and then you can leave it in there for a few seconds to make sure that all of the powder grabs onto that base coat or that adhesive, essentially. Sorry, my phone's buzzing. Okay, so you want to let this dry. You can tap, when you pull your nail out, you want to tap the next excess off your nail, and you want to have your nail straight downward, because if you do it this way, if you have your nail out like this and you tap off that excess, you're really just bouncing it on top of your nail. So you're not getting the excess off necessarily, and you can get clumps then too because you're just bouncing it up on top of that adhesive. So you want to shake your nail, dab your nail downward like that. So then once this dries, you can brush off the rest of your powder. We have bigger nail brushes. I just grabbed this one because it was the first one I saw. When you're applying to your actual nails, you want to start on one nail and work your way around when you're dipping, because that way when you come back to this one, it'll be dry and ready to go for your next round. So now usually when you're dipping in just powder, you would go into your powder again with your next base coat, but we're going to put this away because the only reason that we did this as the first coat is that way we can use our activator to harden the application of the nail, because the benefit of dips is you have the hardness of an acrylic and the shine of a gel. So the hardness comes from your activator, and then the shine comes from your top coat. So if you don't have any dip powder on this, you don't need your activator, which means it's not going to harden like the acrylic. Okay, now since these jars are so little, when you go to apply your next coat of base coat, you're going to want to scoop or pour whatever you want. So you can use our swatches as a scoop, or you could just, take this and pour it on, whichever you prefer. You could even use a brush to apply it. You could take a eyeshadow brush or, this kind of brush, and you can apply it. What I don't want, and the reason I don't use the brush, is because I don't want this base coat, that adhesive on my brush. So that's why I choose to pour on the pigment. Okay, so we're going to apply a second coat of base after everything's dry. That's why I'm rambling on, by the way, is to give everything time to dry. So second coat of base. And the reason I started to say, and I couldn't think of the words, is I have glitter in my base coat is because I didn't get all the excess off of one of my coats when I did my brush or my tapping. So you want to make sure you get all your excess off. Okay. So now we come in here. This is our color change pigment, and we're going to just pour it right on top of there. And if you keep your jar underneath, you'll catch some of your excess. But if not, you've got your paper to catch the rest, because you don't want to lose any of this stuff. So you just literally pour it right on there. Make sure you got both sides really good. You can always do another coat of this if you need to. Try not to touch, obviously, the nail if you are pushing it around or whatever, because you're going to make little divots like I probably just did. So I'll show you everything not to do in this video. So once you think you've got the whole nail, I can't really see. My screen is a little darker than I'd like. Tap off your excess, and then we're going to allow that to dry. See, I missed a spot over there because I can't see. That's okay though. You could try applying it, see if I have the base coat still wet enough. I might not even have any base coat there. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for just a second, and hopefully over here, I got my water. I'm going to turn my water on, guys, because my water's already cooled down because I've been talking for almost 10 minutes. So I'm going to get some new hot water, hopefully. So I apologize about the noise. Let's hope I don't. I'll put that down for a second while it's drying. My water takes forever to warm up, so I'm going to just let it run for a few seconds. Hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. Okay, so brush off your excess once it's dry. And then if that's not dark enough for you, you can go in with another coat of the base. Make sure you've got as much of this off as you can, because if not, like I said, you're going to contaminate your base coat like I did. So slowly lift up your base coat brush so you don't get on the outside of your jar. You don't want to wipe it like outwards, because then you're going to pour it over the outside of your jar and glue your jar shut. Put your base coat on. This time I'm going to make sure to get this side where I didn't get it. And we're going to pour more of our color change pigment on. And I haven't even added this color to the site yet, guys. That's why I'm swatching this one too. Because when we first got our first shipment in, we didn't have this one in it. And when I restocked them the other day, I didn't have this one swatched yet, so we're swatching it tonight. So, and as you can see, we've done only one nail and we've got a big old mess everywhere. So if you need to put, pour your excess back into your jar to keep going, you can do that too while you're waiting for stuff to dry or whatever you need. You really don't have to wait for these to dry if you're doing 10 nails, you know what I mean? Because you'd be doing the next finger, next finger, next finger as you're waiting for these to dry. See how it's changing color too? Because I warmed up that bottom color probably by adding more to it, so you can even see it changing color already. Pretty neato. You might be able to see it too with the top coat. It'll probably change again. Okay, so I think that's thick enough. We're gonna get as much of this excess off as we want. And then we're gonna go with our activator. Now with your activator, again, if you have to just do a light top coat, and this first coat, and you want to make sure not to pick up any extra powder. Every time you pick up extra powder, you contaminate your bottle. So you can wipe your brush, which I didn't bring a paper towel because that's how this works. You can wipe your brush each time on a paper towel or a napkin before you put it back in your bottle. Because if you can see, my activator is contaminated too with like pink and yellow, and it's like an orangish color. Because I'm terrible and always forget a paper towel. So there's coat number 1 of the activator. If you're going to file your nail at all, if you have like rough edges, I don't know if you can see that little rough edge right there. If you're going to file your nail at all, you do it after your first application of activator. So this is where you'd file. You can smooth anything that you want after that first activator coat, and then you'd go in again after it's smoothed out. Now we're going to let this dry. This is what hardens again like the acrylic to give you more strength on your nails. I'm going to close this one because this one's super liquidy, fluid. And let's hope that my water's hot again, or at least warmer than it was. It literally takes forever. So I'm going to wait till I'm done with my top coat. Okay. So hopefully it's dry enough, because I have no patience, guys, at all. So if your lids come off, guys, it's not a big deal. It's just because these are so sticky to make everything, to do all the different steps. And again, you want to do a very, very, very light top coat because you don't want anything on this brush. If you get activator on this brush, it will harden your entire bottle of top coat, and you'll need a brush saver. So first, this is just paper, but I'm going to wipe it off anyways. See how it's changing colors again? So your top coat will make it change too. Just because it's awesome. Warms it up because you're covering it up. So that's one layer of top coat. I'm going to do one more here in a second. Go ahead and get my water ready. Hopefully everything will cooperate. I'm sorry about the running water in the background, guys. I had everything ready and then I yammer on too long. Because I didn't just want to show you how it changed, I wanted to show you how to apply it. Okay, so our second coat of top coat. This is a much lighter version probably than if you can do another layer of the pigment. You could do a different color underneath, whatever you want to do, but I use the white, so it's going to keep it kind of light. Close my bottles so I don't make a mess, because I am good at doing that. And then hopefully we can show you the color change. So I'll probably put it in the cold first just to give you the extreme, because I know it'll warm it up, even if my water is not quite warm enough. But these are called thermal pigments, so these ones change according to temperature. Where our glow ones, we had someone say they had it like this and they got it in the mail and then they put it in the dark right away and it didn't glow. Make sure you guys are putting this in some light before you try to put it in the dark. So if your house is not very well lit, for example, and you open up your package and then you go and put it in like the closet where it's dark, it may not glow. You need to kind of what I call activate it by having it in some direct light or some direct sunlight. And then when you go into your dark room, it'll show, and or it'll show like in a black light. Let me see if this should be dry enough, hopefully. Yep. Okay. So this is our cold water. I have some ice in there, as you can see, and this is my warmer water. So I'm going to go into, let's see, you can still kind of see probably some of the white through there, but I'm going to go into my cold, and it's going to probably lighten, wait, or is it going to darken? I can't remember. I think it's darkens in the cold. I'll end up tripping all over my powder. And then into the warm. Yeah, it gets lighter in the warm. Way, way, way different. So darker in the cold, lighter with the warm. Hopefully you can see that. So this one's kind of a green, or like a, it's like a light green, I guess. Not a light green, it's not quite emerald. I'll have to look up the shades and see what kind of green we were going to call this, but, and then in here it's like a tan or real light brown. Absolutely gorgeous. Great for like camo colors. Oh my gosh. We're going to probably call this camouflage pigment. So that's how it works, you guys. Whether you're using a gel top coat, a polished top coat, or your dip powder top coats, it should work no matter what. It won't be as drastic probably on your nails unless you're washing your hands and stuff, because you're probably not in extreme hot and extreme cold. But like if you were to, walk into the air conditioning for being outside in the summer, it is going to change. So I will get some pictures of this put up for you guys and get this out of the site ASAP, but I wanted to show you how to use our pigments. I hope that helps. Thanks so much for watching.